On July 1st, 2026, Princess Diana would have celebrated her 65th birthday. It was a birthday she never had the chance to reach, yet millions of people still paused to think about her and the lasting mark she left behind. Nearly 3 decades after her passing, her name continues to stir powerful emotions, and every important date connected to her still carries a special meaning. As this milestone approached, many people wondered whether the royal family would publicly acknowledge it or quietly let the day pass. What happened next caught many people by surprise. In the days leading up to Diana's birthday, Prince William chose a path that was very different from what many had expected. There was no major speech delivered to the world. There was no carefully staged ceremony designed for television cameras. There was no dramatic announcement meant to dominate headlines or social media. Instead, William made a deeply personal decision, one that reflected his private connection with his mother rather than the expectations placed on him as a future king. It was a quiet act, but sometimes the smallest gestures leave the biggest impact. As details slowly began to emerge, people across the country found themselves unexpectedly emotional. Many believed they had already mourned Princess Diana years ago, yet this simple tribute reminded them just how deeply her memory still lives in the hearts of so many. It wasn't about publicity or creating another royal headline. It was about a son who has spent almost 30 years learning how to balance public duty with private grief. Since losing his mother at such a young age, William has lived under constant public attention, but some parts of that loss have always remained deeply personal. On what would have been Diana's 65th birthday, Prince William made an important choice about how her legacy should continue and who would help carry that legacy into the future. His decision reached far beyond one family gathering or one emotional moment. It sparked conversations about memory, responsibility, and the lasting influence of one of the most recognizable women in modern royal history. This story is about much more than a birthday tribute. It reaches the emotional heart of the British monarchy itself. Princess Diana was never just William's mother. To millions of people around the world, she became a symbol of compassion, warmth, and a different kind of royal life. She changed what many expected from the crown by showing a more personal and approachable side of royal service. Even today, her influence continues to shape conversations about the monarchy, public service, and the future of the royal family. Because of that, every decision involving Diana's memory carries enormous meaning. The monarchy's relationship with her legacy has often been careful, sensitive, and at times deeply emotional. Nearly 30 years after her passing, the way she is remembered still matters, not only to her family, but also to the Socians. Countless people who continue to admire the remarkable impact she left behind. What Prince William chose to do on what would have been Princess Diana's 65th birthday quietly answered a question that has lingered around the royal family for many years. It is a question the palace has rarely addressed directly. Who now decides how Princess Diana's legacy is remembered, protected, and passed on? For a long time, many believed that responsibility rested with the institution itself. But William's thoughtful decision suggested something very different. The answer no longer belongs to palace traditions or carefully planned royal schedules. It belongs to her son, who has spent almost 3 decades carrying both the memory of his mother and the responsibility that comes with being her eldest child. To understand why this moment touched so many people, it's important to look beyond the headlines and see the bigger picture. This wasn't simply another anniversary marked on a royal calendar. It was a deeply meaningful milestone that carried layers of emotion, reflection, and remembrance. Several key moments help explain why William's quiet tribute resonated so strongly with people across the country. First, there is the significance of the date itself. A 65th birthday represents a stage of life Princess Diana never had the chance to experience. It is a reminder of the years that were lost, the grandchildren she never watched grow up, and the moments she never got to share with her family. Unlike earlier anniversaries, this birthday encouraged many people to imagine not just the life Diana lived, but the life she might have enjoyed had history taken a different path. Second is William's long history of honoring his mother's memory. Over the years, he has spoken about her influence with care and respect, often choosing meaningful actions instead of grand public displays. Yet this year felt different. There was a noticeable sense that he was no longer simply remembering his mother. He was actively shaping how future generations would remember her, making this tribute feel especially significant. Third came the gesture itself. Every part of it appeared carefully considered, carrying quiet meaning rather than dramatic symbolism. One particular detail involving Princess Charlotte especially captured public attention. Observers were deeply moved by the connection between grandmother and granddaughter, seeing it as a touching reminder that Diana's influence continues to live on through the younger members of the family, even though they never had the chance to know her personally. Finally, William's decision points towards something much larger than one emotional tribute. It raises important questions about how Princess Diana's legacy will continue in the years ahead, and how the next generation of royals may choose to honor the woman who changed public expectations of the monarchy forever. Princess Diana was born on July 1st, 1961, at Park House in Norfolk. From the very beginning, no one could have imagined the extraordinary path her life would take, or the lasting impact she would have around the world. Tragically, that journey ended on August 31st, 1997, when she died at just 36 years old. Her passing shocked millions and forever changed the lives of her two young sons. Prince William was only 15 years old, while Prince Harry was just 12. For children already living under intense public attention, the loss of their mother became one of the defining moments of their lives. Few images from modern British history remain as unforgettable as the sight of William and Harry walking behind their mother's coffin. Year after year, that heartbreaking scene continues to be remembered as a symbol of unimaginable loss experienced in full public view. For many people, it remains one of the most emotional moments ever witnessed involving the royal family. Princess Diana was laid to rest on a small island in the middle of an ornamental lake at Althorpe, the Spencer family estate in Northamptonshire. The location was chosen by her brother, Charles Spencer, who believed a publicly accessible grave would quickly become overwhelmed by constant crowds of visitors. Instead, the peaceful island was intended to offer privacy, reflection, and dignity. Surrounded by calm water and tall trees, the island has remained a quiet place of remembrance for nearly 3 decades. It is one of the very few locations closely connected to Princess Diana that the public cannot freely visit. At the same time, it exists outside the daily management and traditions of the palace, giving it a unique place in the story of her legacy. To understand why people continue to remember Princess Diana with such warmth and admiration, it helps to look at the difference she made during her lifetime. She became known not only as a royal figure, but also as someone willing to bring attention to causes that many others overlooked. In 1997, she walked through an active landmine field in Angola, drawing international attention to the devastating humanitarian impact of landmines. The images from that visit were seen around the world and helped encourage greater public discussion of the issue. She also challenged long-held fears surrounding HIV and AIDS. At a time when misunderstanding and stigma caused many people to avoid physical contact with those living with the illness, Diana publicly shook hands with a man receiving treatment. That simple act became one of the defining images of her humanitarian work, showing compassion at a moment when many people needed it most, and helping encourage greater understanding around the world. Princess Diana believed her sons should understand the world beyond palace walls. While they were still young, she brought Prince William and Prince Harry to homeless shelters, hospitals, and community centers so they could meet people facing difficult circumstances. She wanted them to see lives that were often overlooked and to understand that compassion meant more than simply offering kind words. Those visits became some of the most meaningful lessons she ever gave them, teaching them that every person deserves respect, dignity, and attention, regardless of their background or circumstances. What made Diana stand out was not simply the list of charitable organizations she supported. Many members of the royal family attended official engagements, but Diana connected with people in a way that felt deeply personal. She listened closely, showed genuine warmth, and often made people feel seen during some of the hardest moments of their lives. In doing so, she helped reshape public expectations of what royal compassion could look like. At a time when the monarchy was often associated with formality and emotional distance, Diana introduced a style that felt more open, approachable, and deeply human. That became the greatest inheritance Prince William received from his mother. It wasn't a royal title or a collection of traditions. It was a way of seeing people and a belief that public service should always be guided by empathy. Long before William stepped into major royal responsibilities, those lessons had already become part of the foundation that would shape his own approach to his work. A 65th birthday carries a unique emotional weight. For many families, it is a season of retirement, spending more time with loved ones and watching children and grandchildren grow. It marks a chapter of life often filled with reflection, wisdom, and family milestones. For Princess Diana, it is a chapter that never arrived. It represents years she never had the opportunity to experience and memories that remained unwritten. Many people have wondered what Diana might have been like at 65. Some imagine her with silver hair, continuing to champion humanitarian causes with the same passion that made her admired around the world. Others picture her enjoying quiet moments with her grandchildren, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, sharing stories, celebrating birthdays, and creating family memories away from public attention. Those moments exist only in imagination, making every passing milestone a reminder of the future that never unfolded. For Prince William, each significant anniversary carries both personal and public meaning. Although he has spoken openly about losing his mother, he has always approached that grief with great care. Rather than making frequent emotional statements, he has often chosen thoughtful actions that quietly reflect the values Diana passed on to him. His tributes rarely seek attention for themselves. Instead, they focus on preserving her legacy in meaningful ways. In recent years, those tributes have felt especially personal. On Mother's Day, as reported by Hello magazine, William shared a previously unseen photograph of Princess Diana crouching in a field of flowers while gently holding his hand as a young child. The accompanying message was brief but heartfelt, "Remembering my mother, today and every day." The simple words spoke volumes, reminding many people that, despite the years that have passed, her memory continues to remain a constant presence in his life. William has also carried Diana's influence into his own charitable work. Through the Homewards initiative, he has focused on addressing homelessness, a cause that meant a great deal to his mother. As a child, Diana introduced both William and Harry to homeless shelters, believing it was important for them to meet people whose struggles were too often ignored. Those early experiences left a lasting impression, and today William continues working towards solutions that reflect the compassion and understanding Diana worked so hard to encourage throughout her life. In many ways, her example continues to guide the path he chooses to follow. Royal biographer Robert Jobson, who has written extensively about Prince William and the royal family, has often noted that William is deeply committed to making sure his children grow up knowing who Princess Diana really was. His goal has never been for them to know her only through famous photographs, documentaries, or newspaper headlines. Instead, he wants them to understand the woman behind the public image, the loving mother, the caring daughter, and the grandmother they never had the chance to meet. For William, preserving that personal connection has become one of the most meaningful ways to honor Diana's memory. Over the years, that commitment has quietly influenced many of William's decisions. Rather than allowing Diana's story to exist only as part of royal history, he has worked to keep her memory alive within his own family. Every thoughtful tribute, every carefully chosen photograph, and every public reference has reflected his desire to pass along not just her legacy, but the values she lived by. This year, however, those efforts took on an even more personal meaning than before. According to sources familiar with the family's reported plans, William approached what would have been Diana's 65th birthday very differently from previous anniversaries. Instead of focusing on a public tribute or a highly visible royal engagement, the day reportedly unfolded in 3 meaningful parts, each carrying its own emotional significance. The first centered on a quiet visit. People familiar with the family's plans have suggested that William chose to spend part of the occasion privately at Althorpe, the Spencer family estate where Princess Diana is buried. While there has been no official confirmation of such a visit, those close to the family's circle have said William wanted to be at the one place that has always belonged solely to his mother. Away from royal ceremonies, away from television cameras, and away from public expectations, the peaceful island where Diana rests offered a setting for personal reflection rather than public attention. For someone who has spent his entire life being watched by the world, choosing privacy instead of publicity carried its own powerful message. It suggested that some moments of remembrance are meant to remain deeply personal rather than becoming part of the daily news cycle. Sometimes the most meaningful tributes happen when no cameras are present. The second reported part of the day focused not on where William went, but on who shared in the experience of remembering Diana. According to an insider quoted by a royal publication, William wanted this year's milestone to help his children better understand the grandmother they never had the opportunity to know. His hope was not simply for them to recognize Diana as one of the most famous women in modern history, but to see her as a real member of their family, whose love and kindness continue to shape their lives even today. Sources have also suggested that William has been making a special effort to introduce Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis to Diana's story in a thoughtful and personal way. Rather than focusing only on well-known public moments, he has reportedly shared family photographs, simple childhood memories, and the small everyday stories that rarely appear in books or documentaries. Those ordinary moments, filled with warmth and affection, help paint a picture of the mother he remembers, instead of only the public figure the world admired. In doing so, William is said to be transforming personal loss into something lasting for the next generation. Instead of allowing grief to remain only a painful memory, he is reportedly turning it into a family legacy, built on love, compassion, and shared stories. And just when many thought that was the full extent of this quiet tribute, another remarkable detail reportedly began to emerge, capturing even greater attention and adding another emotional layer to an already unforgettable birthday remembrance. According to published reports, the part of this story that touched many observers most involved Princess Charlotte. Now 11 years old, Charlotte not only carries part of her grandmother's name, but is also reaching an age where family history begins to take on a deeper meaning. Those familiar with the family have suggested that William has been carefully helping his children understand who Princess Diana was beyond the photographs and famous moments that the world already knows. For Charlotte especially, those conversations are said to have become increasingly meaningful as she grows older and becomes more curious about the grandmother she never had the chance to meet. Reports suggest that William spoke with Charlotte about Princess Diana in a personal and heartfelt way, sharing stories that go beyond history books and television documentaries. Rather than describing only the world-famous princess, he reportedly focused on the woman he knew as his mother, someone who laughed with her children, cared deeply about other people, and tried to teach kindness through everyday actions. These are the kinds of family memories that often become the most treasured because they reveal the person behind the public image. According to those reports, Charlotte has also started asking thoughtful questions about her grandmother. Like many children discovering the story of a family member they never met, she is said to be eager to understand who Diana was, what she cared about, and why so many people continue to speak about her with such affection. Each question reportedly opens another opportunity for William to share memories that only a son could pass down, helping his children build a connection with someone they know only through stories and photographs. One source described the experience as William giving his daughter more than family memories. They suggested he was also passing along a sense of responsibility, the responsibility of remembering Princess Diana as a beloved member of their family, not simply as one of the most recognized figures in modern royal history. For many observers, that idea carried enormous emotional weight. Charlotte, who proudly shares part of Diana's name, is now old enough to begin understanding the legacy connected to it and the values her grandmother represented. The contrast with William's own childhood makes this moment even more powerful. Much of his grief unfolded before the eyes of the entire world. At just 15 years old, he walked behind his mother's coffin as millions watched in silence, creating one of the most unforgettable images in modern British history. In later years, William reflected on that experience, saying no child should ever have to face such a moment under such intense public attention. For him, mourning was never entirely private. It became something witnessed, discussed, and remembered by people across the globe. This year, however, the situation appeared very different. Instead of a public procession or a carefully organized royal event, the focus was reportedly on a quiet family moment. There was no grand ceremony designed for headlines, no official portrait unveiled for the occasion, and no elaborate public statement intended to define the day. Instead, reports described a father sharing memories with his children, allowing Princess Diana's story to live on through conversation, love, and family tradition. It was a reminder that some of the most meaningful tributes happen far away from public view. Prince William has spoken on previous occasions about wanting Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis to know Granny Diana as a real person rather than simply a historical figure. He has shared that he talks about her with his children and works to keep her memory alive within their home. On what would have been Princess Diana's 65th birthday, that quiet commitment appeared to take on an even deeper meaning. The woman who once expressed a desire to be a queen of people's hearts continues to be remembered not only through public admiration, but through the stories a son shares with the next generation, ensuring that her kindness, compassion, and spirit remain part of the family's future as well as its past. There is something deeply moving about this moment, a quiet feeling that one chapter is gently giving way to another. Princess Diana encouraged Prince William to show kindness, empathy, and compassion in a family often known for its sense of duty and reserve. Those lessons stayed with him throughout his life, shaping not only the man he became, but also the father he is today. Now, in a touching reflection of that legacy, William is helping Princess Charlotte understand the grandmother she will never have the chance to meet. Although Diana is no longer here, the values she lived by continue to be passed from one generation to the next in ways that feel both personal and lasting. In many ways, grief never truly disappears. It changes over time, taking on new forms as families grow and new generations arrive. The sadness of losing someone remains, but it is joined by stories, memories, photographs, and traditions that keep their spirit alive. For William, remembering his mother has never been only about looking back. It has also been about making sure the people closest to him understand the remarkable woman who helped shape his life. That quiet mission now appears to be becoming an important part of his children's own family story. What happens from here reaches far beyond one birthday or one private tribute. For nearly 3 decades, conversations about Princess Diana's legacy have often centered on the monarchy, public ceremonies, and the lasting impact she had on the royal family. Yet time has slowly shifted that responsibility. More and more, her memory is being preserved through the people who loved her most and through the family stories that continue to be shared behind closed doors. Those memories are no longer defined only by official anniversaries or public events. They are being carried forward by her children and, now, by her grandchildren. What would have been Princess Diana's 65th birthday has become more than another milestone on the calendar. For many people, it represents a quiet turning point. Diana herself will never grow older, never meet the grandchildren who know her only through photographs and stories, and never experience the family moments that so many imagined she would one day enjoy. Yet life continues to move forward. Princess Charlotte, who proudly carries part of Diana's name, is growing up with a deeper understanding of the woman whose legacy reaches far beyond history books or royal traditions. Perhaps that is where the greatest comfort can be found. The people we love never remain with us forever, but the kindness they showed, the values they shared, and the memories they created continue to live on through those they leave behind. They live in conversations between parents and children, in family traditions, in acts of compassion, and in the stories that are passed from one generation to the next. Princess Diana's influence was never limited to public appearances or famous photographs. It lives on in the lessons she taught, the lives she touched, and the family that continues to honor her memory in deeply personal ways. If you enjoyed this story and want to see more thoughtful updates about the royal family and the people behind the headlines, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. We'd also love to hear your thoughts. What do you think of Prince William's reported tribute to Princess Diana on what would have been her 65th birthday? Share your opinion in the comments below, and thank you for watching.